Well, good morning, everybody. This video is about my top 10 flies during this pandemic year. As most of us have, we've stayed close to home and basically only fished one stream with rare exception. So with all this time on one stream, we became intimate with what works and what doesn't work. And not a lot of experimentation, and the stream I fish, which most of you know, only has a few spots where fish hold. And it's true that 90% of a river doesn't hold fish, that most of the fish are in 10% of the river, and that has a lot to do with current food availability, cover, and some other factors. But I did some exploring on this river this year and found some fish in places where I didn't think fish existed, and I actually became a better fisherman for it. So without much further ado, this is my list with number 10. At number 10 is the green weenie. Kind of an embarrassing fly to no one really admits they have in their box, but it does work and it is effective. And properly tied, it does sort of look like a caddis larva. Number 9 is a beetle. But my number 9 is a deer hair beetle, not a foam beetle. I think the crunch of the deer hair in the fish's mouth is more realistic than the foam. And it kind of sits in the water column while the deer hair is hollow. It sort of hangs in the meniscus better. Number 8 is the reliable elk hair caddis. For my river, it's tiny flies. So it doesn't take much to tie it in deer hair instead of elk hair. Number 7 is an ant, but I've been using a glass bead ant with the glass bead colored with a magic marker, and the rear of the fly, the abdomen part, tied in a brown foam. I'd color it with a black magic marker. Very effective. It seemed like I'd throw it on the water and the fish would come out of nowhere and grab it. Number 6 is a favorite of many. It's the usual. Whether it's pink, brown, tied like an olive, and in various sizes, it doesn't seem to make much difference. Throw it out there and the fish will take it. Number 5 is a bars emerger, another tiny fly, and this is sort of like a olive starting to spread out of its wing buds and fished as a nymph. I guess you could float it in the meniscus and it would work too, but it's very effective as a dropper behind another larger fly. Number 4 is another tiny fly, a WD-40. Few materials used, very effective, and it can, in the smaller sizes, look like a midge imitation. Number 3 is an olive emerger. The river we fish has a dependable olive hatch several times during the day, and the olives are usually tiny, 18 down to 24, some said 26, and some days you think that they're slower than 32. But if they're on the olives, they will take this fly. Number 2 on the list is a puff daddy. And a puff daddy is a fly I found online a few years ago. It was a sulfur puff daddy, and then I realized you could tie it as an olive puff daddy. And in the small sizes, it looks like a cripple floating in the meniscus. And the first time I used it, I don't think it floated a half an inch before a fish came up and slammed it and took it away. And my number 1 fly for 2020 is an old fly, an English pheasant tail, made with 2 materials, not counting the thread in the hook, and originally tied by Frank Sawyer in England, and he never even used thread. So he would use the wire and the pheasant tail fibers themselves and create a very effective fly. So they are my top 10. What are your top 10? You know, this video would not be complete without at least offering a few honorable mentions. And I did fish another stream. I went up to the Ausable, the West Branch in Wilmington. I fished River Road. Disappointing. I was told that there was a heat wave and the water temperature hit 82 degrees and most of the fish moved into cooler waters or expired. I did fish one pool where I had some success. Some inside information was to find yourself a plunge pool, and you know what? I found some fish in there, and they were pretty receptive to taking the fly. The fly that they took was the pheasant tail soft tackle, which I tied very large to imitate an Icenicia. And they also took my olive puff daddy, which I tied very large. Maybe it looked like an Icenicia in its early stages. But my other honorable mention fly is a hare's ear, which is an ubiquitous nymph that's fished everywhere. And an RS2, which is another emerger type fly, or a little tiny skinny olive imitation. Can be tied with microfrebettes as a tail, some CDC, a little bit of thread, and a little bit of dubbing. And you could also tie it with a little trailing shuck and make it look more like an emerger than a dun. But all these flies work. If you trust your fly, it will work. You'll fish it better. And remember, it's never the fly, it's always the fisherman. I have a few videos on fly tying, and I hope to produce some more. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button. We work hard on these things, and while it's kind of like a hobby, it's given me a lot of pleasure this year. So stay safe, wear your mask, and have some fun out there. Thank you very much.